Greetings, salutations, and beyond Venu. My name is Joe Vachotto, and this is Memory Card News for August 13th, 2018. And guess what? The boys are back in town. And by the boys, I mean me, here in Farmington, with my mic and the banner. It's going to be pretty rad. I'm really happy to be back. I hated being off for a week. I'm going to get back into things. This video is going to be a little weird because I got to jump back into the news cycle. But I'm ready. I'm hyped. I'm back, and I'm glad to be here. I got to start writing some stuff. Eesh. And hey, while I was gone, y'all went fucking crazy. A Smash Direct, Red Dead 2 gameplay, and plagiarism? Wow! Wish I was here. I'm still catching up on all of that, but it seems pretty weird overall. But what a week to have missed. I'm kind of bummed. I had a good week though, all the same. But I'll stop talking about that and start talking about the news with today's top story, which is Rage 2 is being primarily developed by Avalanche Studios, while it is working with them on a creative level. This comes from Tom Marks at IGN. Basically coming out of QuakeCon this past weekend, Avalanche came out and said, yeah, it is really like an id game, but we've been writing the code, we've been creating the art, everything you've seen, we've basically made. And it is just kind of like a higher level, creative director type role, making it feel like an id game. And I mean, Avalanche sounds really pumped about it. They're like, we get to work on Rage, that's awesome. But it's of course they're going to say that. Of course they're going to think that, or at least they're going to say publicly that they are so happy to work on this franchise that only has one game. But, they're both owned by Bethesda. They're just doing what they're told. And I think there's something kind of dishonest about, having this whole, they had a whole E3 presentation, where they really emphasized that id was making this game, and that's just not the case. I think Avalanche is going to kind of get shafted on the credit, at least in the public's eye, for their work on this game, which will be fine if the game sucks. But if this game's really good, I think it might be, I'd feel real bad for Avalanche. I feel kind of a little lied to myself, but I don't know. I guess at the end of the day, if they can, get over the optics of it, and it's not about pride, it is about money, which is kind of shitty in of itself, that the capitalist reason is the reason people are okay with kind of sacrificing their namesake to the art. But I digress. Moving right along, Microsoft's new studio, The Initiative, gets some big heavy hitters. This comes from Game Rant. I can't see the guy's name, so I'm so sorry. I did see it was a guy, though. I'm not just assuming. But basically, we know about one bigwig who is Daryl Gallagher is leading The Initiative, the new studio that Microsoft announced at E3. But some LinkedIn profiles, I guess, got updated this past weekend that have now since been taken down, but show who's kind of joined on, and some big names include Brian Westgard, who was, I'll just read all the names and then go. Brian Westgard, Annie Lore, Christian Cantamessa, Blake Fisher, Daniel Newberger, and Lindsay McQueenie. They're all great, but some big notes here. Christian Cantamessa was the lead writer and designer for Red Dead Redemption. Not the one about to come out, but the one from a couple years ago. And Newberger worked at Crystal Dynamics to reboot Tomb Raider. And there's some others coming in from, the Forza team. Who made The Witcher again? CD Projekt Red. It's really interesting to see, especially because these are people who have experience with single-player narrative games, so maybe that's what we're going to see out of The Initiative. I think that's just a cool story. I'm really pumped for this. I'm really pumped for Microsoft to kind of get back in the game and be a very violent player, which probably isn't going to happen until next gen, but bring it on. It's going to be rad. Speaking of Microsoft, though, Cuphead passes 3 million sold on Xbox One and PC. There's not much we can really do. I can say about that except like congratulations, Studio MDHR. That's fantastic news. I know we got an expansion coming soon. Or I guess 2019. I'm reading this on GameSpot. Who wrote it? Eddie Makuk. I should learn how to pronounce his name because he writes a lot of news stories over there, I guess. But yeah, and I think this definitely sets us up for a Cuphead 2 or like more games in this style. Like, we haven't heard the last of Studio MDHR, and I'm really happy for them on that front. And our last story for today also comes from GameSpot. This one from Chris Reed. Doom Eternal confirmed for Nintendo Switch. This is more news out of QuakeCon. Bethesda, I should say at the time of recording, Bethesda has not confirmed this, but there's kind of like a lot, like this isn't like rumors per se. Panic Button Games kind of sent out this tweet, and they are the ones who have done both the original Doom on Switch and Wolfenstein 2. So that kind of it kind of gives some cadence to it. What I'm more curious about with this story is that this will be like really the first major time, I guess, that a game, like a big AAA game, will release on all three platforms. And it remains to be seen if that's going to be simultaneously or if there is going to be a delay on Switch. And I think that's going to say a lot about third-party development on Switch writ large, and I think it's going to be a really cool case study for why games are on Switch and why games aren't on Switch. But I've talked about this before. I have mixed feelings about these Panic Button games because they don't run well on Switch. Like, they are massively inconvenient to have. You have to download huge patches, which for me, like in Maine with shite internet, like I have to leave my house to go upload my videos. Not a fan of huge downloads. But I also understand the value that, like, if you only have a Switch and you couldn't play these games, you know, in their most polished form, it's better to have them than nothing. So, I don't know. I guess it's really, like, it reminds me of the Jurassic Park quote, just because you spent too much time asking if you can, you never really asked if you should. And I feel that way really on these Switch games because, like, I would rather have polish on the Switch, especially with how versatile a system it is. I don't want it to just be a dumping ground for games. I want it to be, you know, good and quality. But anyways, that's the way it was. Sorry, today's kind of a weird news video. Again, I had to get back into the news cycle. I'm just kind of getting home, and I basically, so I went to San Francisco and then I worked at a summer camp for the past 2 weeks. So essentially I've been living out of my car. I'm kind of readjusting to life here. And a couple other big life things have happened and been thrown my way that I'm working through, and I think it's going pretty well. I'm very motivated now to keep pushing on with Memory Card, and that's what I'm here to do. So thank you all so much. If you've liked this video, please hit that like button. I mean, that's what it's here for. If you like what Memory Card's putting out, and I know it's been a week since we've posted anything, but we're hitting it hard. We're hitting the ground running. Go over to our channel and subscribe. If you really like what we're doing, go over to Patreon. Check it out. Patreon.com/MemoryCardGames. Check out the perks. Throw us a few bucks if you can. That'd be awesome. But for all of you out there, I love you so much. Have fun playing video games. And I'll talk to you tomorrow. Peace out.